What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So there's a lot of talk online right now about just finding a PlayStation 5, but then once you do, you start to look around and realize a lot of those Sony first-party titles are $70. Well, it looks like on the PlayStation Store currently, there is a sale where a lot of those first-party titles are actually marked down pretty well, and we'll go over that one here today. Also, we are going to be taking a look at the Famitsu sales charts. Sony and Nintendo, but also Microsoft actually making some moves out there with the Series X and the Series S, and we're also going to go over several Legend of Heroes games that are finally getting localized with the help of some fans. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and hit the little notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads that go up here on the channel. And we're going to start today with that Castlevania Advanced Collection. We had seen this previously with a ratings board in Australia that had the title put up, and it was really exciting because it's like, oh, are these the Game Boy Advance games? But we haven't heard much since then, at least until now, where it looks like in Korea it was rated, and we can see this here, where it says Castlevania Advanced Collection, and the platform is for PC. And that's pretty exciting there to see that I guess it's going to be coming to PC as well, but it says a PC action game composed of games from the Castlevania series. And we can see all like the contents information display, or what is basically being rated for, and all of this. But the big thing here is we're starting to see other ratings boards kind of go through this, which tells me we are getting close to announcement for this. And I'm kind of wondering if this is something that is going to be shown during Sony's presentation, maybe, as that is rumored to take place in July, or who knows, maybe Konami, who said they weren't going to be attending E3, but they had stuff coming up, just drops it on Twitter. They're like, hey, Castlevania Advanced Collection, all those Castlevania Game Boy Advance games in one spot on all the platforms, and you can pick it up next month. I mean, honestly, that's all they need to do to get a bunch of people excited for it. Also, it looks like another game in the Mana series is currently in development. We can actually head over here. This was with Nintendo Everything. This was during a 30th anniversary live stream for the Mana series taking place over the weekend with Square Enix. And we have the producer here, Oyamada, who says, it would have been good if we could make a cool video announcement with a bang, but the 30th anniversary has just begun. To be honest, we are developing it, we are working on it, but please wait a little longer for the announcement. We still have a long way to go in development. We're preparing to release it on consoles, and we'd be glad if you can wait for it. So it's good to hear that they're at least developing another game in the series after what we got with Trials of Mana, which was a game that I enjoyed quite a bit. It was on the PS4, Switch, and PC, and I do recommend checking it out. It's gone on sale several times since it released for like half off. I mean, seriously, it's like 20 bucks at one point. But I am curious them making a brand new game rather than even remaking one of the older Mana games again even. But exciting stuff there. The fact, though, they say it's in early development. It's probably going to be a couple of years, but just good to know that at least one's in development. Oh, and if you missed it, Monster Hunter Stories 2 now has a demo that is live on the Switch, and we can head over to Capcom's website where they describe it a bit more. Nintendo Switch trial version now available. You can transfer your data in this game to the full game, and this is cool because it essentially gives you a head start in the game itself. Then if you buy it, you just basically continue on into the full game. But they say try out the beginning of the game for free, and don't worry about losing your progress if you decide to purchase Stories 2. You'll be able to transfer your save data to the full game. Enjoy the start of the story, edit your rider's appearance, try out the battle system, forge equipment, and add monsties just like in the full game. Transferring your trial version save data to the full game allows you to continue from where you left off. And I really like these kind of demos. We've seen this several times now with other games. I mean, look what happened with Dragon Quest XI. They basically released the first 10 hours of the game, Square did, and then you just kind of continued on into it. So I do like Capcom taking the approach here with Monster Hunter Stories 2, a game that some people may overlook because they think it's like Monster Hunter Rise. Seriously, I've heard from several people that they thought this was just another Monster Hunter game. No, it's an actual like JRPG, kind of like a Pokemon game, and then they're interested in it. So the fact that the demo's there, yeah, go ahead and take a shot, see what you think, and if you like it, you can just continue on when the full game releases in July. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this big sale currently going on with first-party Sony titles on the PlayStation Store, because we haven't really seen a lot of discounts on Sony's games to start this generation. It's basically been like $70 for the most part across the board, but it does look like they decided, hey, over the weekend, we'll start marking some of these down. And this is good news for people who didn't necessarily want to pay $70 and decided to wait, even for launch day games like Demon's Souls. We can see this here on the PlayStation Store with Returnal already seeing a discount. That's pretty good considering it hasn't been out that long. Marked down just about 30%, down to $49.69. And there's also the deluxe edition at $60. But a big one here is Spider-Man Miles Morales, just kind of by itself, not the remastered or the Ultimate Edition that has like the remastered Spider-Man 1. If you've already played that and you're just curious about Miles Morales, I mean, $30 is really good for Miles Morales. I completely recommend that one. Demon's Souls is $49.69, marked down from $70, and that's certainly not a game for everyone, but $50, I did enjoy Demon's Souls. I think that's a good one to look into there. Sackboy being marked down to $40 from $60 there. And then we have a Big Adventure Digital at $60. And we have Neo 2, and there's also Neo Remastered. They have like a complete edition you can pick up for both of them at $50, or you can kind of pick and choose which one you want there at $30. And then who could forget Destruction All-Stars being marked down to $30. That's one I do not recommend buying. I mean, I got it for free on PlayStation Plus, and I look at that and I can't imagine spending $30 on that one even now. But I do like the Neo collection. I'm actually playing through Neo 1 right now, and yeah, it's difficult, but I do like the combat in it quite a bit. Otherwise, though, certainly look at something like Spider-Man Miles Morales if you have not picked it up yet. Now, this weekend sale for these PS5 games will be ending on the 29th, so basically midnight tonight, you're gonna wanna take a look at these games today. Now, obviously, Ratchet and Clank, that's not on here because it's still pretty new. They weren't gonna discount that one, but there are some good ones to pick from here, especially if maybe you bypass something like Sackboy, that's not bad there, or even Demon's Souls because you were unsure. It's still $50, so if you're not really into the Souls games, I don't know if you would enjoy Demon's Souls, but certainly stick to something like maybe Neo. I do like Neo, or again, Spider-Man Miles Morales. But just good to see we're getting some discounts here on the PS5 games, because for a while we haven't really seen any substantial discounts like this on the PlayStation Store. Next up, let's talk about the Famitsu sales charts in Japan. We're actually gonna head over and take a look at the top 10 first, and we can see at the top, Game Builder Garage. That's actually eclipsed 100,000 copies already. I think that's really cool for a game like Game Builder Garage, where it basically relies on you to make your games and even kind of teaches you the logic behind it. So really cool to see so many people picking this one up. Then we have Ring Fit Adventure, which already has over 2.6 million copies sold. Minecraft, that one being on the Switch. Miitopia has nearly 160,000 copies that have sold. Momotaro, that's, I think, the most successful game for Konami in Japan at 2.23 million copies. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then we have Monster Hunter Rise, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and it does appear that the top 15 are all Switch titles. You have to go all the way down to number 16 to get to Resident Evil Village, and then even below that, we have Ratchet and Clank, which would be the first PS5 title on the charts at 17. Moving over to the hardware, the Nintendo Switch is at the top, 75,000 units sold, and it has eclipsed 20 million units in the last few weeks, which is very impressive for a system that is apparently halfway through its life cycle to already have eclipsed 20 million units in Japan. Then we have the PS5 below that at 15,346 units at 835,000 lifetime to date. But I noticed that the Xbox Series system has been gaining a bit of momentum. Now, it's nowhere near as impressive as what we see with the Switch or the PS5, obviously. With the PS5, Sony's still trying to get just any PlayStation 5 systems they can into Japan to meet demand, but the Xbox Series system having 3,684 units, and it does appear that Microsoft is selling more Xbox Series systems, Series X systems, I should say, overall, is pretty impressive for Microsoft, considering they're at a lifetime of 52,511 systems in Japan, which is almost half of what the Xbox One was able to sell in its entire lifetime in the market for Japan. And while it's not great for Microsoft to compare their Xbox Series system to the PS5 or the Switch, obviously, in Japan right now, the fact that they're going to look back and compare to the Xbox One, this is obvious growth for the Xbox brand in Japan, a region that they have typically had a hard time with, but they really fell flat with the Xbox One. At least with the 360, I believe they got over 1.5 million units in Japan, which was great for the Xbox brand. Seemed like they were at least on an upward trajectory, and then they just completely crashed with the Xbox One. So I'll be curious to see if the Xbox Series systems kind of keep up this momentum, and as they move Game Pass and xCloud into Japan, onto cell phones, maybe they can continue kind of building the brand there, and who knows, maybe they can get back to the Xbox 360 days when they had 1.5 million systems. But if they can just have 1.5 million users of Game Pass in Japan, I think for them that's still a win. I mean, you never know. There's still the possibility of a partnership with Nintendo, which would dramatically increase the number of users for Game Pass and their overall Xbox brand in Japan if they can get it onto the Switch. So a lot of possibilities here, but good to see Microsoft is at least growing the Xbox brand in Japan, and obviously Nintendo is like in outer space somewhere compared to Sony and Microsoft there. Next up, let's talk about The Legend of Heroes. Now, this is a series that has a lot of backstory around these games being localized. I've seen some people talk about the undertaking that exists here, just getting these games, say, localized to the Western audience, just the amount of text and the scripts you have to go through. It's a whole thing. But we did have a pretty big announcement over the weekend for fans of the series, as it looks like several of them will be getting localized to the Western audience with NIS America, and a couple of fans kind of teaming up with them. It's exciting stuff. Let's head over here to Nintendo Enthusiast, where they say NIS America is bringing a quartet of the Legend of Heroes games to the West, starting with Trails from Zero in 2022 for Switch, PS4, and PC. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails, and The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie will arrive for the same platforms in 2023. Now, in order for NIS America to make this happen, they are actually partnering with Geofront, who has done actually quite a few translations already for like fan projects with these different games. Over on their website, they say, well, here we are. Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure are being officially localized, and the Geofront has partnered with NIS America to make it happen. We reached an agreement with NIS America, and now the text you have seen in our localization patches will serve as the basis for the official releases of the Crossbell duology. Each and every member of our team is thrilled about this opportunity because it's the culmination of our driving motivation to ensure Crossbell gets the localizations it deserves so that people can experience these engaging, touching, wonderful games. And I'll admit, I'm not really into the Legend of Heroes series. I've seen them. I've picked up a few of them thinking, okay, I'll play these at some point, but I know they are really time sinks. Games you're going to get into and stay into for a bit, and it has a very engrossing story that people talk about quite a bit, very fondly online. So I do, again, look at these and I think, okay, someday I'll really go through one of these and then I'm sure get wrapped up in the overall series. I'm just happy for the overall fan base and the fact that NIS America was willing to go and work with Geofront on this, because we get a lot of stories, of course, where like Nintendo or Capcom or Ubisoft, companies will go out and kind of strike down different projects. Now, this is a translation project, but still you could look at it and say, okay, they're technically hacking and changing the game, and that could be an issue for some of these companies. But after Sega partnered with fans to make Sonic Mania, I'm hoping this is more commonplace going forward, because at the end of the day, fans of the series get a bunch of really cool games being localized to the Western audience. So here's hoping everything goes smoothly here in development as we look towards this over the next several years. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a strange new accessory that's been announced for the Switch. Now, pre-orders already started on Friday. It does look like it is only being released in Japan, but I saw it and I was like, it's an interesting looking accessory there. Let's take a look this over at Famitsu. And we'll use good old Google Translate to kind of help us understand what's going on here, saying, Go By Train introducing a one-handle controller compatible with Hashiro Yamanote line. Reservation acceptance starts from June 25th. And yeah, it looks like it's a one-handed controller for, I guess, different train games, or train simulator, basically games, I guess, where you're operating different trains. And this is kind of like, I guess, just a steering wheel, sort of, if you're playing any kind of like driving or racing games. This looks pretty complex, though. Like, this doesn't look like a throwaway type of accessory. You see a ton of buttons there, obviously the full lever and all of this. It's going for 14,850 yen, which I think that's about $135 in the United States, and it is slated to come out August 5th. I don't think I'm gonna be picking this one up, but it looked like it was kind of a cool accessory to go over and show you guys here. Let me know if, I guess, you're into any kind of those train games and this is something that caught your interest. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, are you signed up for Game Pass currently? 40% said yes, I've been signed up for a while now. 3% said yes, I signed up recently after seeing Microsoft's E3. 12% said no, I'm waiting for a big game release from Microsoft. And then 45% said no, not interested in the service. And it's interesting, when I talk about Game Pass at times, I do see people, whether it's in the comments on like Twitter or on YouTube or any of that, just don't seem very happy with Game Pass or maybe the idea of Game Pass. And that could be a number of things. Maybe it's just they're concerned about the direction of gaming, or as I've seen on Twitter recently, they just don't like how many people are talking about how good of a deal is, but it's hard to argue. It's a good deal. Like, if you have a PC and then you have an Xbox and you don't mind even streaming on your phone occasionally, I mean, there is a lot to like about the service at $15 a month. And now that I think about it, seeing so many people, maybe a little older, talk about it so fondly on Twitter, for example, I mean, think about when we were younger. I mean, the best thing we had that was similar, something like Sega Channel. Like, you know how happy I would have been as like an 8-year-old kid with Game Pass? That'd have been incredible. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Damon saying, whoa, shocked at that Mario Golf Metascore. May have to hold off for the additional content. Shame. This has been brought up a little bit recently with Nintendo kind of doing this with some of their games. I know the best example was Mario Tennis Aces, as that did get a lot better over time, but after release. It wasn't initially. And I kind of think that Mario Golf is going to kind of go that same route. It is lacking in content now, but you can kind of hold off, and in like a year and a half, it might even see a $20 discount with one of these sales, and you pick it up for $40, and then it has like a bunch of extra characters and more courses. Who knows? Maybe new modes. That would be really cool. So I can tell you now, after playing it over the weekend, the mechanics are good. Like, it's all plays really well. It is that lack of content right now, but if you have friends you can play with, it is a good time in multiplayer, especially with speed golf. That is actually a lot of fun. So keep that in mind. If you're unsure now, maybe hold off a little bit and keep an eye on the updates that Nintendo says they're going to be doing over the next year or so. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Whether it's the sales on the PlayStation 5 store, are you picking up any of those games, maybe Demon's Souls or Spider-Man Miles Morales? Also, what about Microsoft in Japan? They appear to at least be doing a bit better now than the Xbox One. Do you think they can continue growing that brand in Japan? And then what about Legend of Heroes? Are you a fan of the series, and were you really excited to see the announcement for several of them getting localized? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.